Hello, Stu. How are you?
Great, Glenn. How are you?
Very good. You know, we were talking yesterday. How do we get up on this subject that maybe have we become numb to how fast big things are happening? Like things we never thought would ever happen as a conservative.
It's overwhelming. I don't even know that it's our fault. There's so much stuff going on all the time that I think it's going to be overwhelming for the average person.
And we're looking at things, and I think rightfully so. I'm very upset still about the way the Epstein thing rolled out. I still am watching that closely. I'm still, watching, what Tulsi Gabbard rolled out. Is anything going to happen with that? I think that is shocking news, but let's see if anything happens. But why are we getting bogged down on things like that? They're very important. It goes to the trust of the United States.
Yeah.
However, we're not sitting. You said to me one time, you're like, Glenn, can we take a moment and just admire the accomplishment we all just made?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm the kind of guy who will do something great, and while it's on stage, I'm like, okay, here's what we're going to do next.
Here's the next 5 years of events.
Yeah, here's what we're going to do next time.
Mm-hmm.
And you said to me one time in real frustration, we just did the impossible. Can you just take a minute? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So maybe we should say that to America. Can we just take a minute and look at what has been happening in our country in the last 6 months? Start with sports. This is from an article from Chris Bedford in the Blaze. We're finally living through a conservative revolution we've always needed. Now listen to this. Start with sports. The right's victory in pushing back gender ideology on this front marks a turning point. Now, remember, 5 years ago, none of us had ever heard, we had never really considered 90 different genders, right? Being taught to our children in school. We never even thought it would be reality that the government could take our children in school, indoctrinate them, then give them a sex change without us even knowing it. All of that has stopped. The ideology in sports, not just because it helps women, not because it polls well, it matters because it's the first real cultural win for truth that we have had, as Chris said, in my adult life. Without that kind of victory, without truth, nothing else can be fixed. We now have changed from a government that could not identify a Supreme Court justice, and we've seen how good she is now, huh? A Supreme Court justice says, I can't identify. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I don't know how to define a woman. We've gone from that to, that's a chick, dude. That's a chick. We have taken the government and our schools and totally turned that around in 6 months. I don't know. I think that's a pretty big thing. Remember, you couldn't say that was anything other than a beautiful woman if it was a dude. You couldn't say that. You'd be shut down. I couldn't have had this conversation without massive pushback with you. Now, I don't care because we're independent, but the pushback 5-6 years ago, if I would have said, no, sorry.
Well, you wouldn't get that pushback from this audience, but you would
I
probably
would from the outset.
You would not be able to, there was a time where a conversation as obvious as this would, if you posted it on certain social medias, would get your account suspended or banned.
Yes.
That's not that long ago.
We were having bans 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We were under bans on several different platforms.
Right. We should point out, we did it anyway.
Yeah.
We'll bash our face into the brick wall over and over again
with
malice.
Right.
But it was something that was happening to people all over the country.
Now, Chris points out, let's not forget over the last 4 years, welfare rolls soared, government job numbers got a boost, but it was mainly foreign workers. White men ages 50 to 65 were not getting hired. The border was wide open, crime everywhere, tolerated, even sanctified, as if letting it happen was the morally right thing to do. In the 6 months since the inauguration of Donald Trump, he has sealed the border. On a shoestring budget, his administration launched raids up and down the country, which has striked fear into the hearts of illegal immigrants nationwide. And that's important because we're not having to scoop all of them up. His self-deportation thing is working like crazy. People are self-deporting just as common sense would tell you it would. The White House also has fired or bought out more than 100,000 federal bureaucrats, made the largest tax cut in U.S. history permanent, proved that Americans can hit its enemies hard without getting dragged into nation building. I mean, what happened? Every president since George W. Bush and maybe Clinton have said Iran cannot get a nuclear weapon. But they did nothing. They did nothing. And we've tried everything except strength. Because strength, of course, according to the State Department, would get us embroiled in a war that would last forever. Donald Trump. Now, I don't know if you're honest enough to say this. I am. And maybe it's not the same with you, but it is with me. When he made that decision, I thought, my gosh, this is such a dangerous decision. I believe it's a decision that he has to make. But this could lead to World War II. And then I thought, this is why, Glenn, you could never be president of the United States. Because I don't know if I have the courage enough to say, yeah, well, if World War III starts, and it starts because I made this move, so be it. I wouldn't have the balls to do that. And that's why I would make a very bad president. You have to have somebody, and Donald Trump knows he's right. Whether he is or not, when he approaches a decision, he'll get all kinds of, counsel on it. But when he approaches a decision, he's made the decision, he's right. When it comes to World War III, I don't think I could do that. And neither has any of the presidents since Ronald Reagan. Only Ronald Reagan was willing to look at Gorbachev in the eye and go, not going to do it. And if it means World War III, that's fine. I don't think we should fight it. Here's what happens. It's horrifying. Now, I'm willing to take all of our missiles and get rid of all of them if you are too. But if you want to keep ratcheting it up, I'll crush you. Everyone said that was World War III. That was the collapse of the Soviet Union. Same thing. We haven't seen this since Ronald Reagan. Everyone has said they're not going to have nuclear weapons. This is the first president who had the balls to do something about it. It's amazing. By the way, the same tax cut included $75 billion for interior immigration enforcement. This happened 2 weeks ago, by the way. He has changed the Middle East. He has supported Israel, but now he is also saying, Israel, you got to slow down here. We need peace. He is putting peace in the region together like I've never seen before. He already did it once with the Abrahamic Accords. But what he's doing now by building this giant silicon area in the Middle East, do you know why he's doing that? China is doing their, road and belt and
Belt and Road.
Belt and Road thing.
Initiative.
So what is that? That's trying to get Huawei everywhere. Huawei is, our NVIDIA. Okay. It is the big tech producer for China. And if China gets their road and belt, if they get all of these places to take Huawei instead of American technology, we're screwed. So what is Donald Trump really doing in the Middle East? I don't even think we talked about this when he was over there. We were just so in awe of, look at what he's bringing together. When he was standing there, and remember they built that, they had that little model of the city of tomorrow, the tech city of tomorrow. Did you see that? He was like in the UAE or something. Maybe it was Saudi Arabia. And they had this huge model made, and it was the tech city of tomorrow. And it was all about industrial servers, chip manufacturing, et cetera, et cetera. And it was a joint project between the Middle East and America. Okay? Why did he do that? Because if we don't have other countries bought solely into our chips, if they are playing two roads and they can go over to China and get Huawei, if we're weak, that destroys us. We must be the leader in chips. Nobody even understands what he's doing. Nobody understands what he's doing with the servers and the tech. Nobody understands. Have you noticed that the gas price is the lowest it's been since when? 2020?
Yeah. Well, certainly 2020 was probably lower during COVID. But it's just really low.
Right. Really low. And we're not even talking about that.
No.
How about the price of eggs down 54%? We're not even talking about that. It's like, again, I go back to we're in the drive-thru. And we're like, yeah, you gave it to me in 2 minutes. Why don't I have it in 90 seconds?
Are you saying that as a country, or are you saying that as conservatives? I thought you said we.
I think conservatives are saying that. I think conservatives are, because I don't.
The polling is showing no variation from any of this stuff for conservatives. They all just love Trump. They're there. The MAGA people are there. 90% type approval ratings. Nothing, no movement whatsoever from the Epstein thing that I've seen.
Yeah, I know that. In fact, I think it helped him.
I mean,
strangely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it helped him, but it didn't hurt him. It didn't hurt him. He improved in that period, seemingly. So I don't know that. I mean, it seems like Republicans, conservatives, MAGA types are seeing these positive things and appreciating them.
I hope so.
I just think that I think some of the stuff doesn't have widespread popularity across the country outside of those groups. Like, for example, when you look at the immigration policy, if you can divide it into two things, you mentioned both of them. One was border security, and one was the framing, I think, in that story that you were reading, it was raids up and down the country.
Yeah.
Border security is looked at positively by most of America. Raids are not. In fact, they're wildly unpopular outside of Republican and conservative sort of circles.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean you don't do them.
Right.
I mean, it's an important part of the policy.
And that is the problem with the raids is the press. I mean, the press is still in the bag. Yep. The press is saying that these are just poor migrants. No, they're not. They're not going after those guys yet.
Much of it has been falsely covered.
Right.
Yeah.
It is like, these are the murderers. These are the gang members. These are the ones causing real issues. And they're trying to make it appear as though they're everywhere so people will self-deport without any chaos. That's the whole idea. But that's the press being dishonest.
It's not just the press, though. I mean, it's also it's filtered into like the podcast world. Like, have you seen Andrew Schultz is the comedian? He voted for Trump, was supported Trump, and I heard him do an interview. I think it was like the New York Times or something, where he was saying one of the main reasons he supported Trump is he believed we should have border security, but we should not go after nice people who are just working or illegally here and just working. That's not what he's going to do. And I asked the president about that, and he told me that was not going to be his priority. And then look at this.
It's not his priority.
Now, first of all, I think it's not his priority.
No.
And secondly, what this is certainly not a policy of. I think there's a lot of border hawks who are like, hey, are we going to get to those like widespread deportations soon?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I am.
Yeah. So, but his perception, certainly through the media, but it's moved people like this, is that's what Trump's doing. He's going around every Home Depot and arresting random people who have families here and have done nothing else wrong other than cross the border illegally, which I still think is a significant issue, but not everyone agrees with us on that. So I think that's been part of the problem, but I don't think that's in conservative circles.
All right, let me pick this back up. Give me 60 seconds. I want to tell you about American financing. Imagine for a moment a single phone call could completely change your life. Sounds like something out of a movie. A character picks up the phone, makes a call, and then everything starts to shift. The problem gets solved. A weight gets lifted. A new chapter begins. Here's the thing. That's not just in the movie. Sometimes real life works that way as well. Maybe it's a call to ask, can I get out from underneath this debt? Can I stop bleeding money on high interest? Is there a better way for my family to live? American Financing has helped countless people answer those questions. They're not about selling you something. They're about helping you understand what's possible, whether that means lowering your mortgage payment, consolidating high-interest debt, or simply getting you onto a better path for your future. Call American Financing. I have to tell you, I understand what it's like to live where you're like, I don't know what's going to happen next. Maybe you're worried about your job or whatever. In starting a new business, which I'm doing right now, that's taking a lot. It's taking everything that I have right now. And Tanya and I are like, gosh, I haven't felt this way for a few years, for like really feeling worried about things. It's a horrible place to be. Horrible. You don't have to be there. There are ways for you to get out from that fear. There is nothing worse than the fear of, am I going to be able to make my bills next month? Call American Financing, 800-906-2440, 800-906-2440. Go to AmericanFinancing.net. That's AmericanFinancing.net.
NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. APR for rates in the 5 starts at 6.799% for well-qualified borrowers. Call 800-906-2440 for details about credit costs and terms.
So while we're there, let me just play Cory Booker here. Cory Booker just... reposted a video on X. First it came posted on Instagram from Shea Farm Kid. Go ahead and play this video. Okay, there's somebody that is showing their hands and they're picking and planting and everything else, and it glorifies the invisible hands that feed us.
Wait.
Okay, they're not invisible hands. I can see them, but these are all the farm workers. Okay. So, the invisible hands that feed us, a.k.a. the migrants who pick vegetables for less than minimum wage. Okay?
Right. And we're told that they're all being rounded up, right?
Right.
So you just decided to put a bunch of them on video and
yeah.
post it on social media?
Right. Okay. But what kills me is, how come there was a rant. Who was it? Oh, it was from Joe Biden or Hunter Biden.
Oh, gosh, yes. I love the Hunter Biden.
Do we have time? Do I have 58 seconds? 1 minute.
No,
I don't. I got to play it when we come back.
It deserves its full airing.
Absolutely amazing. These people they have not changed from the 1850s. They are still saying, yeah, they're black people, but how are we going to get the cotton picked in the fields? How are you want to pay more for that shirt and that pair of pants? How are you going to, really? Do you smoke cigars? Who's going to pick that tobacco? Slavery was wrong. Yeah, we survived without slavery. We will survive and figure out the way to do it without illegals. Stop encouraging people to live in the shadows so you can have cheaper food, Democrats.
This is Glenn Beck.
Amazing. All right, preborn. What if today, with just a little bit of effort, you could participate in a miracle, a legitimate miracle? Today, there's going to be a woman who is facing the hardest decision she'll ever make. She's scared. She's alone. She's been told she has no other option, and she's going to walk into a preborn clinic. She found preborn. She didn't go to Planned Parenthood, and she's planning on aborting, but she wants to go in for an initial exam. Okay. Then somebody, for free, gives her a chance to see her baby, to hear the heartbeat. It's an ultrasound. She realizes, sometimes for the first time, that is a life, that is a child, her child. That's what preborn does, provides free ultrasounds to women in crisis, and when they do, more often than not, the baby gets a chance to live. But that's only the first step. Also, these women are still afraid. They still feel alone. Nobody in their life. We don't give up on the women. We don't say, good, the baby's born now, get out. They help the mom and the child for up to 2 years. Would you consider a donation? I mean, if you can afford a big check, $1,000, $200, $2,000, even $20,000 could go a long way. But $28 buys an ultrasound. Preborn.com/Beck. That's preborn.com/Beck or pound 250, keyword baby. just looking at, what has been done in the last 6 months, it is pretty amazing, the progress on things that we never, ever thought could be done. For instance, NATO, they're paying their own way now. They've upped and guaranteed they're going to pay 5%. And he's like, you're going to, because I'm not going to. We stopped giving aid to Ukraine. Instead, we're shipping the weapons that NATO purchases, and you can do whatever you want, but we'll sell you the weapons, but we're not going to give them anymore to Ukraine. Which, I mean, if you don't like the war in Ukraine, that's a different story, but at least we're not paying for it anymore. You have NATO coming to heel and listening to the American president again. I think that's amazing. The activist judges are now being pushed back down. You're not a king. You don't have a right to tell everybody. And he pushed that through the Supreme Court. Last week, he pulled the plug on PBS and NPR. I never thought that would happen in my lifetime.
It's been a conservative priority forever. Many Republican presidents have promised to do it, and we're not able to do it.
Along with the Department of Education.
Now, that one's not done yet.
No, but remember, he said he was going to do it. Then they sued him for it and said, you can't do it. He brought it all the way to the Supreme Court, argued in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said, yeah, you can, up to a certain point. 50% of that's going to be gone soon.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Nobody thought 50%. I guess the point of this is let's not look at it and go, yeah, but there's 50% left. He just cut it by 50%.
It's a major improvement.
Let's see. The colleges. Why are we sending money to colleges that are, letting China in? That's not happening. Teaching our kids and screwing our kids up. He's like, I'm not sending you any more money. In fact, the first thing you have to do is you have to rescind all of the fake records set by men in women's sports, and then you have to apologize to the women.
It's interesting. That stuff hasn't polled all that well overall, but it's been good for conservatives. And again, I'm not saying that he should be targeting polling by what he's doing. I'm just trying to see why would his approval rating be falling.
He's also frozen tens of millions of dollars of our money going to liberal universities and suing them for racial discrimination.
Again,
the left, for the first time ever, I have not seen this for a long time. They'll just get up in front of Congress and they'll just lie. For the first time in 40 years, I'm seeing people go to Congress and they're not lying. They'll say, I plead the fifth. That means they're actually afraid something will happen to them, that somebody is serious this time. That's a huge step. Now, I haven't seen the seriousness begin. But some things are happening behind the scenes in Washington. I found out about yesterday that serious times, if the Senate acts to actually confirm more U.S. attorneys, there's like 70 of them backlogged, and they're not doing anything. The Senate's not moving on those. You can't have prosecutions without the U.S. attorneys.
I did hear that they were considering canceling the August break to get
he's begging
all
them
the
to.
stuff through.
He's begging them.
I think Thune said something about doing that.
Birthright citizenship, now possibly on the chopping block. Never thought that would happen. The vaccine industrial complex, that's all being dismantled. The Department of Health and Human Services and the CDC's advisory committee on immunization practices, they fired all the people from Big Pharma on that. He took on South Africa and their land seizures, their government-incited murder, all of that stuff. We're no longer, that we know of, being shadow banned. He's got the AI people and the tech people generally on his side and said government should not be involved in any kind of stuff on free speech. And the Democrats have completely caved. I go back to Stu, what I said to Stu, or what he said to me years ago. Hey, Glenn, I think it was the day we put GBTV on the air. We launched a network the week we were doing our first ever and only foreign event in Israel. None of us spoke Hebrew. None of us spoke Arabic. None of us had ever put together an event. None of us had ever started a network. And we did it at the same time in 1 week. And we were finished, and I was already going, okay, here's what we have to do next. And Stu came to me and said, hey, what do you say we celebrate just for a second? Just for a second. That's all I wanted to say today is, could we just celebrate for just a second? We got to get back to all the things that aren't being done. But my gosh, look what's happened. Over and over and over again, things I never thought we'd get done are being done. That's not accounting. Yesterday, the straw thing went away.
That's a nice one.
Yeah,
they got the paper. Now,
what was the shoe thing last week at the airport? I was at the airport on Friday, and they're like, "Don't worry, you don't have to take your shoes off, and your laptop has to come out, but the liquid thing, that's on the way."
Yeah, the liquid is another one that you can have liquids now.
Right.
Bring a bottle of water through the security line. Coming soon. Not done yet, but coming soon, supposedly.
Just that and the straw thing I never thought would happen. He got us out of the Paris Accords and the WEF and ESG, while it's still out there, is not breathing down our neck like something that's about to take over.
Major progress there.
Look at the corporations, how the corporations have flipped. I mean, this is remarkable for 6 months.
And so a lot of these things are, I'm looking at them, I would say the majority of them are things that mostly are toward his base.
Yes.
Right? These are things that conservatives...
because they were the ones that were on the most amount of fire.
Sure. And look... This is why he got elected, right? By his base, right? They wanted him to do a lot of these things. This is understandable why, people in the middle and on the left might be less excited about those things and maybe hurting his approval rating. I think a lot of it's focus. Like, I think focusing on things like there's no shoes on planes is smart, right? Because
I know
that's something that's overwhelmingly popular get rid of that.
That's Rudy Giuliani. Back in the 80s, and I faced this in the 80s, New York was a scary place. Not as scary as it is now, but a scary place. You drive your car.
That's true. I think it's actually was scarier then.
Well, it's close. You drive your car back then, and somebody would just throw water on your window, take a rag, and just wipe it. Your window would be completely smeared now. Now you couldn't see. And then they knock on your window like, pay up. And if you didn't pay up, you were praying for the light to change quickly. Mm-hmm. Okay? Rudy Giuliani got into office. That's the first thing he took on. Change people's lives. Mm-hmm. And I think he is doing that, but it just happens amongst all the other stuff that is happening. He should take a moment and take a victory lap on the things that actually change people's lives, like the no shoe thing at the airport, like the straw thing. Those are things that I'm sick of those straws. I was at a restaurant over the weekend, and they gave me one of those stupid straws that I'm like, well, this is going to be a slimy piece of nothing by the time I finish this drink. Thank you for that. All that nonsense is over. The showers. You can have water pressure again in your shower.
That's another good one, yeah.
Right? I mean, I know I'm missing a ton of things.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because you look at how the overall country looks at Trump's policies. And you can find polls all over the place on this.
Yeah.
Some are more liberal, some are more conservative. But like the order of these policies generally is about the same on almost all of these polls. Let me give it to you real quick.
Yeah.
Most popular, border security.
Yes.
Next, immigration. Okay.
Yes.
Deportations is next. Now, again, that is underwater on some polling, but it's still one of his more popular policies tied to that. But you see, all three of the top three are all related to the border.
Right.
Okay.
But you know why? Because people see that in their own neighborhood. They're afraid of their own neighborhoods in many ways. Mm-hmm. They see it. They recognize terrorism, gangs, fentanyl, drugs. They see crime going up. And so this is one of the things they see and know instinctively this is bad. They may not like the correction, but they want the correction.
Right. Yes, that's a great way of describing it.
They want it.
Yeah.
They just don't want to say they want it.
Yeah, and they don't want to necessarily, it's like you want a hamburger, you don't necessarily want to hang out at the slaughterhouse. It's like one of those types of things.
Exactly.
Like it feels like it's a negative thing to get to a positive thing for some.
Right.
Again, I feel like someone who broken the law, I don't have any problem with it at all, but I'm just saying from
I want them treated well,
of course.
Treated like human beings, which they are.
Right.
But I want them out.
Right.
Yeah.
What's interesting about this is his approval rating for immigration, still his most popular set of policies, has fallen from, it was in March plus 11 on average, and it is now a minus 6.
That is because of people like Cory Booker and the press and the way the press is making this all look.
It's also pretty standard for most presidents. Now, we should also note that Trump is ahead of his first term considerably. So keep that in context here too. Even though they're focusing on the falling of the polls, he's doing better than he was in his first term. After that, you have jobs in the economy, then foreign policy.
By the way, did I even mention the jobs, the massive job front on? You get, whether you spend $10 billion or $10,000, you get a tax credit if you are building infrastructure that actually creates jobs. How about he's cut the red tape for all of the nuclear power plants and the coal fire plants. And
that's, again, a very divisive thing.
I know, but
I like it.
It's phenomenal. I think there's several things that you're like, wait, what? And I'll hear that from, I heard about the shoe thing. At the airport, everybody was talking about the shoe thing this weekend. Okay, that's great. But you kind of the shoe thing. Do you know that we now are building nuclear power plants? Nobody, it just happened. When he announced that on this show, I thought, holy cow, that's going to be front page New York Times. Nothing. No pushback. Which shows they're actually for it. They just don't want to say they're for it.
Right.
No pushback whatsoever. And it's like, wait a minute. How is this happening?
Yeah, it's amazing. A couple of other ones here. You've got, now you get into less popular policies, managing the federal government workforce. We didn't mention Doge, but all that Doge type stuff.
Doge hurt him.
It did hurt him.
That squabble.
That squabble, but also just firing a bunch of workers from the government. Very popular for me, very popular for you, very popular for many in the audience, not so popular nationwide.
Yeah, because children are going to starve. Again,
right, it's not necessarily true.
It's not because the press is in the bag. The press is lying about these things. USAID is the biggest thing. He cut USAID. Another one. Just stand back and marvel. That is forever been a CIA operation. It's a front for the CIA. It's been causing revolution. It is probably responsible for millions of deaths since the 1960s because it's revolution after revolution after revolution, all fomented by USAID. I never thought that would be. I didn't even consider that could be cut. Gone. Holy cow. Now, doesn't make him popular with everybody.
Right. Most people, oppose that.
If you're informed and you really know what it is,
it's a big deal.
It's a very big deal.
Very bottom of these, the least popular, trade with other countries, government funding and social programs, health care, and prices and inflation, which is, those are the very bottom of the barrel for him. But again, this is just more of a thing of how should he focus, right? What his attentions be on publicly?
He needs, let me give you 30 more seconds, Sarah. He needs to concentrate right now. He needs to I think the conservatives need to put pressure on the Senate. Get the U.S. attorneys approved. You can't prosecute anything without the attorneys, okay? Get the U.S. attorneys approved, Senate, this summer, right now. The other side of that is I think he needs to find ways to just focus on the economy. If you can make people's, and I don't know how he's going to do that, because that all comes from job creation and everything else, and you don't turn that one around quickly. You know, prices have fallen, inflation is down, and we are out of little gimmicks that we can do hey, let's send everybody a check of $10,000, which is always popular. We can't do any of those gimmicks. So I don't know how it happens, but concentrate on the things that make people's lives better so they recognize their life is getting better. All right, back in just a second. Right now, the situation across Israel is historically fragile and deeply urgent. Israeli neighborhoods have been destroyed. Dozens of Israelis are dead. Untold more are injured. And whether it's a time of peace or a time of war, the reality for the people of Israel never really changes. They know at any given moment, an overwhelming number of ballistic missiles could be falling from the sky. Now, they're at war, but this is at any given moment when they've been at peace. Here's the problem. There are just not enough bomb shelters, not in Tel Aviv, not in the north, and that's where it's really happening. If there's been a time to act, it's right now. Learn more about the IFCJ and their life-saving work calling 888-488-4325 or go online to ifcj.org, ifcj.org, 888-488-IFCJ.
Glenn Beck. We'll be right back.
So do you ever feel like every diet you try actively is trying to ruin your life? Starvation kind of leads to frustration, which then leads to basically zero results. And if you're experiencing that over and over and over again, it's time to make a change. And that's where Lean comes in. It is a doctor-formulated supplement built to support weight loss without the extreme nonsense. No punishing food plans, no gimmicks, just real ingredients designed to help you hit your goals. One of those ingredients is a rare edible cactus that grows in India, and it's been used for generations to help naturally reduce appetite and manage your cravings and support healthy blood sugar levels. Lean does more than just help you say no to junk food, though. It helps you and your body turn the stored fat that you have into usable energy, and that is the part that most people notice first. You maybe feel a little bit better, maybe you move a little bit easier. You're not dragging through the day anymore. It's not about magical pills or miracle diets. It's about smart, science-backed ingredients that actually fit into your real life. So if you're looking into maybe losing a little bit of weight without feeling miserable, Lean might just be what you're looking for. If you're ready to try it yourself, now's the perfect time. Get you started right now with 20% off at Blaze20 is the code at TakeLean.com. TakeLean.com is the place to go. And it's Blaze20. If you're looking to lose a little bit of weight and trying to do it something that can help you along that journey, it's TakeLean.com. The code is Blaze20.
Welcome to the Glenn Beck Program. Next hour, we've got a ton on our plate. Don't miss a second.
This is Glenn Beck.